Today we are going to ruin something for you.
Okay, a bold start.
We're going to ruin that little dopamine hit you get when you click the buy button on your trading app. We're going to take that moment of, satisfaction and just peel back the screen to show you the industrial machinery grinding away underneath.
It is a necessary ruin, though. I think it is. It's
Yeah.
the kind of disillusionment that actually, save you money in the long run.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Because usually we think of that button click as the end of the process, right?
Right.
You do your research, you spot the pattern, you stare at the charts until your eyes bleed, and then click. You're in. It feels instantaneous.
Yeah, it does.
It feels digital. It feels clean.
That's the user interface design doing its job. It is absolutely designed to feel like a video game. But the reality is messy, it's physical, and it is incredibly complex.
And the source material we're covering today calls this the black box of execution.
That's the term, yeah.
And that is what we are digging into. We have a stack of documents here that are honestly a bit intimidating. It's the inaugural briefing from something called the Quarterly Broker Infrastructure Review, QBIR for short.
Mm-hmm.
And the source material is titled, rather dramatically, The Liquidity Audit.
It sounds like a spy novel, doesn't it? The Liquidity Audit. But the content is extremely serious.
It really does. It comes from a group called the Partners Club. And reading through their profile, this isn't for the casual, I bought some meme stock on my lunch break crowd.
Not at all.
This is for high-volume traders. We're talking people moving serious capital.
Yeah.
And they frame this report not as, friendly advice, but as institutional-grade analysis.
And that distinction is so important. Most trading content you find online is about what to buy.
Exactly. Buy gold, sell tech, look at this trend line.
Right. This report doesn't care about any of that. It cares about how you buy. It's strictly about the plumbing, the infrastructure that carries your money from your laptop or your phone to the market.
And the core argument here is startling. They claim that for most retail traders, this infrastructure is a complete mystery.
A total black box.
You put an order in, and you have no idea what happens to it before you get a confirmation back. And in that black box, they argue, is where the smart money is essentially eating your lunch.
Eating your lunch is putting it politely, I'd say. If you don't understand the plumbing, you are essentially leaking profit on every single transaction you make.
So the mission of this deep dive is to stop the leak.
Stop the leak. That's it. We need to dissect this liquidity ladder they talk about, figure out the hidden costs that aren't on your statement, and then apply their audit framework.
Okay, let's start with the ecosystem, the liquidity ladder. I think the average person, myself included sometimes, assumes the stock market or the Forex market is just one big room.
Yeah, one big server.
Or one big server where everyone meets, like a digital town square.
Right, the centralized exchange myth. It's a nice idea, but it's not the reality.
But this report uses a different metaphor entirely. They call it the liquidity ladder. Paint that picture for us. What are we looking at here?
Okay, so visualize a tiered fountain, or maybe like a massive waterfall. At the very top, the source of all the water, you have what's called the interbank market.
The bank market.
This is the tier 1 level. We're talking about the absolute giants of finance, J.P. Morgan, Deutsche Bank, Citi, UBS, the household names.
And when they trade, what does that look like compared to what I do on my app?
It's just raw volume. It's almost unimaginable. They are trading billions of dollars in currency or assets with each other instantly. The spreads, so the difference between buy and sell prices, are microscopic.
So super cheap to trade.
It is the purest, cheapest, deepest liquidity in the world. But here's the catch, and it's the most important part of the ladder. You are not invited.
My $2,000 account isn't getting me a seat at the table with the CEO of a major bank. Shocker.
Not even close. And it's not about snobbery. It's about credit risk and, administrative costs. They don't want the headache of your $50 profit. They deal in credit lines of hundreds of millions.
Okay, so that makes sense.
So because you can't plug directly into the top, the liquidity has to trickle down.
And this is the ladder. The rungs on the ladder.
Exactly. It flows from those tier 1 banks to aggregators. These are technological firms that bundle orders. Then it flows down to prime brokers, then to prime of primes, and finally, way down at the bottom, getting the spray from the bottom of the waterfall.
That's us?
That's the retail broker. And then, finally, you.
So by the time the price reaches me on my screen, it's already changed hands 4 or 5 times.
At least. And this is the crucial part the report highlights. Every single handoff costs money. No one passes that bucket of water down the line for free.
Well, of course not.
They add a markup. They add a commission. Or, and this is the dangerous part, they manipulate the flow of the water.
Okay. The report throws a lot of acronyms at us to explain the mechanics of these handoffs. I want to parse these out because they're thrown around in broker marketing all the time, and I suspect 90% of people don't know what they actually mean.
Absolutely. They're just marketing buzzwords to most people.
Let's start with the LP.
LP, the liquidity provider. In our retail context and using the source's suggestion of simple metaphors, think of the LP as the wholesaler.
The wholesaler. Okay.
Your broker is just a storefront. They don't actually have the euros or the Apple stock sitting in a back room. They have to get it from an LP.
So if my broker has a bad LP, what happens? What does that look like for me?
Think of it like a supermarket with a bad supplier. You get empty shelves, rotten fruit.
Okay.
In trading terms, that means bad prices, slow execution, or the inability to fill your order when things get busy. The LP is the source of the raw product. If the source is bad, the end product on your screen is bad.
Okay, that's clear. Next one, STP, straight-through processing. This is usually plastered in big, bold letters on websites like it's a badge of honor.
It's the organic label of the trading world. Everyone claims they have it because it sounds safe.
Right.
STP theoretically means your broker acts like a pure courier. You click buy, they take your packet of data, and they zip it straight to the liquidity provider. They don't open it, they don't touch it, they don't bet against it.
That sounds honest. It sounds like what a broker should be doing.
It is the gold standard. Theoretically, it minimizes the conflict of interest, but true STP requires really sophisticated technology bridges, and it costs the broker money to maintain those connections. It's expensive to be a good courier.
Okay, so contrast that with the ECN, Electronic Communication Network.
Right. So if the LP is a wholesaler, the ECN is the bazaar. It's a hub.
A marketplace.
It's a digital marketplace, exactly. It connects buyers and sellers, banks and traders, all in one digital arena. It's basically a matching engine. You put in a buy order, the ECN scans for a sell order from anyone else in the network.
And who could that be?
Could be a bank, could be another guy in his pajamas, could be a hedge fund, and it matches them.
So it's more of a peer-to-peer dynamic.
Yeah, in a sense, yes. It's decentralized execution. The broker isn't the counterparty. The market itself is the counterparty. The broker is just providing you the door to get into the room.
Which brings us to the villain of the story, or at least the entity with the ominous music playing in the background of this report, the market maker.
The market maker, yes. It's a misunderstood role, but it absolutely carries risk for the trader. If STP is a courier, the market maker is the casino house.
The house.
When you place a trade with a market maker, that trade might never leave their server.
Wait, hold on. So I click buy, and they just say, okay. They don't actually go out into the market and buy the stock for me.
In many cases, no. They take the other side. You buy USD, they sell USD to you from their own inventory. They are making the market for you.
They're simulating the market for me.
That's a great way to put it. They're simulating it.
So if I win,
they lose. It is a direct zero-sum game between you and your broker.
that seems like a staggering conflict of interest. Why is that even legal?
Well, the argument is that it serves a purpose. Remember the waterfall.
Yeah.
Sometimes the water dries up. In volatile moments, like during a market crash or a massive news event, the big Tier 1 banks might pull back. They might say, it's too risky. We aren't trading right now.
So they turn off the taps.
They turn off the taps. A market maker guarantees they will always give you a price, even when the real market is chaotic. They provide a kind of stability.
So they are the liquidity of last resort.
Exactly. But the cost of that stability is that their incentives are completely misaligned with yours. They profit from your losses. And the source material argues that any serious trader needs to know if they are trading against the house or trading in the actual market.
And this is where the QBIR report gets really interesting visually. They talk about pollution. They have these flow charts showing that the further you are from the top of the ladder and the more market makers involved, the more polluted the price becomes.
Pollution in this context means two things: cost and latency. Every intermediary adds a micro fee, usually hidden in the spread, but they also add time.
We're talking milliseconds though, right? Does that really matter? I mean, I can't even blink in a millisecond.
To a human, no, of course not. To an algorithm, it's an eternity. If your order takes 200 milliseconds to get to the LP because it's bouncing through 3 middlemen, the price you saw on your screen is gone.
It's ancient history.
It doesn't exist anymore. The market has moved on.
So you're chasing a ghost. You're clicking on a historical artifact.
Precisely. And that leads directly to the second section of our deep dive, the cost of the path. The report makes this incredibly bold claim. It says, zero commission is the most expensive trade you'll ever make.
That's a great line, but it's so counterintuitive. If I pay zero, I pay zero. My bank account doesn't go down.
You pay zero explicit fees. You don't see a line item on your statement that says commission, $5, but you are paying in the execution. And the report breaks this down into what they call the trinity of execution costs.
The Trinity.
Okay. The first one is spreads.
The gap between buy and sell. We all know this one.
Right. But spreads aren't static. They're not fixed. In a clean STP environment with deep liquidity, spreads are razor thin because all the banks are competing to sell to you. It's a price war, and you win.
And in a market maker environment.
The broker controls the spread. They might artificially widen it.
Just to skim a little bit off the top for themselves.
It's called a markup. If the real market spread is, say, 1 pip, they show you a 2-pip spread. You start the trade 2 pips in the hole instead of 1. You have to work twice as hard just to break even.
That feels like buying a ticket from a scalper instead of from the box office.
That is a perfect analogy. You're getting the same seat, but you paid a premium because you went through a middleman who controlled the supply.
The second cost in the Trinity is slippage. This is the one that drives traders insane. I see it on forums all the time. I got slipped.
Slippage is the phantom thief. It's infuriating. You see the price at 100, you click buy. The confirmation comes back at 100.05. You just paid more than you agreed to.
And the broker's excuse is always, sorry, the market moved.
And sometimes it did. That can be legitimate. But the report links this directly to the depth of the liquidity path.
Okay, what does that mean? A shallow path?
If your broker has a shallow path, meaning they only connect to 1 or 2 small LPs, when you ask for, say, 100 shares, those shares might not be there at that exact price. So the system grabs the next available price, which is always worse for you.
And if you have a deep path?
If you are plugged into Tier 1 liquidity, there are millions of shares available at every price point. Your order gets absorbed, you get filled at your price instantly. The depth absorbs your order without moving the price.
The report mentions something here about asymmetric slippage. This sounded particularly nefarious.
Oh, this is where you need to be really careful. Slippage should work both ways. Sometimes you should get filled at a better price than you clicked.
Right. Positive slippage.
The market moved in your favor while the order was traveling.
Does that ever actually happen?
In a fair market, yes, absolutely. But the report warns that with unethical brokers, they pass on all the negative slippage to you, so you pay the cost, but they keep the positive slippage for themselves.
Wow. So if the market moves in my favor, during that half a second of the click, they pocket the difference.
Correct.
But if it moves against me, I pay the difference.
Heads they win, tails you lose. That is the very definition of a rigged infrastructure.
The third variable in the Trinity is requotes. This feels like a relic of the dial-up days, but the report says it's still a huge red flag.
A requote is a rejection. It's the system saying no. You click buy, and a pop-up appears on your screen. Price has changed. Do you want to buy at this new, worse price?
It's annoying, but why is it a big red flag?
Because in a high-speed electronic market, your order should just be matched, period. Requotes usually happen because a broker is running a B-book model.
The market maker model.
Exactly. They are holding the trade themselves, and their algorithm just calculated that your trade is too dangerous for them. They are scared you're going to win, so they reject it.
So it's the casino dealer telling you you can't hit on 16 because they think you might get a 5.
That's a great way to think about it. Yes, they are managing their risk, not executing your trade. A pure STP broker doesn't care if you win or lose, so they never requote. They just fill you at the best available price.
The source uses a really compelling hypothetical scenario here to illustrate all this.
Yeah.
They compare broker A versus broker B. I found this super helpful to visualize the math.
Yeah, let's walk through that.
Let's do it.
Okay. Let's say we both trade the non-farm payrolls, a huge news event. The market is moving incredibly fast.
Total chaos.
We both use the exact same strategy. We both click buy at the exact same millisecond. I'm on broker A, you're on broker B. Broker A has direct Tier 1 connections. My order flies through an optical fiber, gets matched instantly at the market price. Minimal spread, zero delay. I'm in profit immediately as the news spikes the price upwards.
And I'm stuck on broker B. What's happening to my order?
Broker B is, let's say, a market maker with core tech. You click buy. Their system hesitates. It checks its internal risk. It tries to find an LP. It fails. It tries another. By the time it fills you, 500 milliseconds have passed. An eternity in this market. A lifetime. The news spike has already happened. You get filled at the top of the candle.
So I bought high purely because there's slow technology.
You bought high. Then the market does what it always does. It retraces a tiny bit. I'm still comfortably in profit because I got in early. You are now instantly in a loss because you got in late.
So we both closed a trade at the same time.
I made money. You lost money. Same strategy, same timing, different infrastructure.
That is terrifying. It basically means your strategy is irrelevant if the execution is flawed.
Infrastructure is edge. That's the big takeaway from the Partners Club analysis. You can have the best strategy in the world, but if you are running it on a broken track, you will lose the race every time.
Okay, so we're scared now. I'm scared. We understand the problem. The black box is a scary place.
Good.
But how do we fix it? How do we shine a light in there? The report pivots here to the audit framework. It says we need to stop trusting and start verifying.
This is the empowering part. This is the actionable part. They give you a checklist. They want you to act like an auditor, not a passive client. It's about demanding transparency.
They break it down into a 3-point checklist. Let's go through these one by one. Point 1, raw data access. What am I asking for here?
You are asking for the execution logs. Every trade has a digital footprint. There is a timestamp for request sent, request received at server, and order filled.
And I can just ask for that.
The report says you should be able to see these. If there is a massive gap between when your broker's server received the order and when it was filled, your broker is holding the order, they are thinking about it, that's bad.
What's a massive gap in this context? Are we talking seconds?
Anything over a few hundred milliseconds in normal market conditions is suspicious. If it's taking seconds, that's an eternity. That's either manual intervention by them or just a terrible server infrastructure.
And if the broker says, sorry, we don't provide that data,
then you have your answer. Transparency is a binary state. You either have it or you don't. If they hide the logs, they are hiding the bodies.
wow, okay. Point 2 on the checklist, verified liquidity tiers.
This one is simple. Ask your broker, point blank, who are your LPs? Who provides your liquidity?
And what am I looking for in the answer?
If they list Deutsche Bank, XTX Markets, Citadel, Goldman Sachs, great. Those are serious tier 1 names. They will be proud of those relationships. If they say, we use a proprietary liquidity network or we cannot disclose for business reasons, run away.
Why? What does proprietary liquidity network usually mean?
Usually it means their LP is just another shell company they own. Or it means they are the LP. It's a fancy way of saying, trust me, bro. And in finance, trust me is not a strategy.
Right. Not a good risk management plan.
Yeah.
Okay, point 3, execution quality. This seems harder to measure for a solo trader. How do I do that?
It is. It's very hard. You can't easily benchmark speed by yourself because you don't have a control group. You need a comparison. And this leads us to the source of this report, the Partners Club.
Yeah, let's talk about them. This whole quarterly broker infrastructure review isn't a public service announcement. It's a product from this specific club.
It's content marketing, but for a very specific audience.
The very specific audience. The source mentions traders doing 100 lots or more a month.
That is institutional volume.
Yeah.
To put that in perspective, one standard lot in Forex is 100,000 units of currency. So 100 lots is trading 10 million units a month. These aren't hobbyists.
No, these are pro scalpers, fund managers, algorithmic traders. And the value proposition of the club is that they crowdsource this audit data. Is that how it works?
That's the core of it. One trader can't tell if a broker is slow. But if 500 traders in the club all send their execution logs to a central server, they can build a proprietary scoring model.
So they can average it out.
They can say with statistical certainty, hey, broker X is averaging 400 milliseconds of latency this week, but broker Y is averaging 50 milliseconds. That is incredible leverage.
It turns anecdotal complaining on a forum into hard, actionable data. It democratizes the information that usually only the banks have access to.
Right. It's a collective intelligence approach to auditing the industry.
But then there is a gatekeeper here. We have to discuss the conversion logic that's baked into the source material.
FX Pro partnership.
Right. The source material is very explicit. It states, to get the full QBIR report, to see the scores, and to join the club, you have to open an account with their partner, FX Pro.
It's a classic freemium model, but with a very high barrier to entry. They aren't asking for a $20 subscription fee. They're asking for your actual business.
Why FX Pro specifically? Does the report give a rationale for that?
They frame it as immediate access and also a form of vetting. By verifying you through the partner broker, they likely streamline the process of checking if you are actually a serious trader moving that kind of volume.
That makes sense.
But it also aligns with the visual branding mentioned in the source. The whole deep dive series is designed with FX Pro red and pure black backgrounds. It suggests a very symbiotic relationship between the content and the broker.
It definitely conveys a premium tone. The source describes the aesthetic as serious, exclusive, and institutional. It feels less like a YouTube channel and more like a private members club.
And that psychological framing is so powerful. By gating the content, by making it exclusive to those who take a specific action, which is opening the account, they elevate the perceived value of the information. It's not just a video, it's a briefing for members only.
So does that compromise the data? If the report is tied so closely to one broker?
That's the critical question you have to ask yourself. On one hand, FX Pro is a massive, heavily regulated broker. They certainly have the kind of infrastructure to support this volume. On the other hand, whenever a watchdog entity is partnered with the very entity they're supposed to be watching, you have to be vigilant.
Of course.
However, the methodology they teach, the audit framework itself, is valid regardless of which broker you use. You can take their checklist, ask for the logs, ask for the LPs, try to score them, and apply it to anyone.
That's a fair point. The education is transferable, even if the club itself is exclusive. And the language they use, declassified briefings, it really pushes that exclusivity button hard.
It plays on the psychology of the insider. We all want to believe there is a secret room where the real decisions are made and the real information is shared. This club claims to be that room.
And they talk about auditing live brokers right now, which implies a dynamic shifting battlefield.
Which is probably true. Infrastructure isn't static. A broker could lose a server connection or lose an LP contract, and their execution quality could drop overnight.
Right.
So you can't just set it and forget it. If you're moving 100 lots a month, you need to know if the plumbing changed this morning. A broker might be great today and terrible tomorrow.
So let's try to synthesize all of this for the listener who maybe isn't moving 100 lots yet but wants to trade seriously and professionally. We've covered a lot of ground.
We have. We started with the idea of the black box. We realized that the buy button isn't the end of the story. It's the start of a journey down a liquidity ladder.
We learned that the ladder has tiers, and where you sit on that ladder determines the quality and the cost of your price. We defined the key players: the wholesaler, which is the LP.
The marketplace, which is the ECN, and the house, which is the market maker.
Right, and we uncovered the true costs, the Trinity.
Yeah.
Spreads, slippage, and requotes.
Yeah.
And we realized that zero commission is a myth if the execution is poor.
A very expensive myth.
And finally, we armed ourselves with the audit framework. We know to ask for raw data logs, verified liquidity tiers, and to find a way to measure execution quality.
It really changes how you look at a trading platform. It's not just a piece of software anymore. It's a gateway into a very competitive, very physical infrastructure.
It strips away all the marketing fluff. When you look at it this way, you realize that trading isn't just about predicting the future price. It's about being able to execute on the present price efficiently.
It's the plumbing. It's not sexy, it's not exciting, but it's where the money is kept, or where it's lost.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with a thought that came to me while reviewing all this material. The source talks about institutional-grade access. It talks about how the smart money operates.
The smart money never, ever guesses about execution. They measure it. They have entire teams of people, PhDs, dedicated just to analyzing transaction costs.
Exactly. So here's the provocative thought for the day. If the institutions, the banks, the hedge funds, the members of this partners club, are auditing their execution down to the millisecond, if they know exactly who their LP is and what their server latency is, can you, as a retail trader, afford not to?
That is the question, isn't it? Is the market rigged? Or is it just that some participants are reading the instruction manual, the audit, while everyone else is just pressing buttons and hoping for the best?
I think the source makes a compelling case for the latter. The information is out there, but you have to demand it. You have to know the right questions to ask.
It's the difference between playing the game and actually understanding the board.
That's all for this deep dive into the liquidity audit. Check your logs, watch your slippage, and don't let the black box eat your lunch. We'll see you on the next one.
Stay sharp.